Thanks so much for watching. This video is a quick overview of the process of making a startup promo. As an example, we'll be walking through the project we recently completed for Ionic Security in April 2015. Now, this video is meant to accompany a very long, very comprehensive process post in which I go into a lot more detail than I will here. You can check it out at the link below. I do encourage you to check it out. In this video, I'm going to cover the highlights: pre-production, production, post-production, basically one big production. Everything starts with the concept. The concept is the foundation and absolutely one of the most important parts. In our case, concepts physically manifest themselves as one-page overviews of what the video could be. It's a general outline. Where does it take place? What's happening? Who's on screen? How is the message delivered? Are there motion graphics? Is there a drone? Etc. For the Ionic project, we developed about 20 concepts. From there, we whittled those down to 3 that we presented to them. The option they chose hinged on this famous quote: "There are 2 types of companies, those that have been hacked and those that have been hacked but just don't know it yet." This was a very strong conceptual anchor as it framed the problem well. All companies are vulnerable to cyber threats, even if they don't realize it. For the video, the concept was to portray both companies visually, those that have been hacked as a chaotic mess doing damage control, and those that don't know it yet in a state of unsettling calm. And the twist would be that their calm demeanor was instead a result of implementing Ionic Security and rendering the concept of a data breach irrelevant. That would introduce our primary visual, an aspirational corporate setting where data breaches are no longer a concern thanks to Ionic. So with the concept locked, the next step was to write the script. Writing a script is arduous. It's a delicate process, word by word, figuring out how to explain something in the most efficient and clear way possible. This process took about a week. So once the script had been agreed upon, a pre-visualization was constructed. This is basically a rough wireframe and is an excellent way to get everyone on the same page. It's a combination of iPhone and stock footage strung together to establish the style, vibe, and overall timing for the final video. A mood board is also put together to help guide the look and feel. So I'm flying through the details here on purpose. There's a lot more in the process post, which is either right below right now, depending where you are online, or you can find it at the link below. I just can't remember everything to say in my mind. So finding an office in San Francisco that's willing to let you film is near impossible, because why would an office want a 30-person film crew disrupting their day? I have no idea. It's one thing if you're toting your little A7S on your shoulder, but it's another thing entirely when you're 30 people deep with truckloads of gear. We were really lucky and found a great location at one workplace in Santa Clara. This location allowed us a variety of office settings as it's a functioning office furniture showroom. A few days prior to shooting, the production team did a location scout to figure out what we would need come shoot day. Often called a tech scout, this day is crucial to setting up the shoot for success. So our projects crew up according to the scope of the video. Sometimes we're a solo operation, as in the case of our drone Future. Sometimes we're 2 people. But for this, the final crew was around 30 people. The visuals needed to be of such high quality that there was basically no other way to do it. On the camera side, Donovan Sell led a team of Red Dragon bandits and scholars. Joe Mendoza and Little Giant SF turned on the lights and made things look pretty, and Alexis Selak headed up the production team. All in all, we were about 30 people, including the excellent cast. And so with the cast, the script, the crew, the location, and everything set, the project was ready to move into the production phase. On the shoot day, it all comes down to the plan. Everything hinges on being well prepared, on time, and well prepared. This mostly manifests itself in a shot list that match up against the script, the previs, all cross-checked with the location scout from days before. The basic goal is coverage. We wanted to shoot way more than we needed to use. Since this wasn't a narrative concept, the goal was to get relevant visuals that would match well against the script. Position Ionic as a high-quality, trustworthy, business-grade option for cybersecurity. So their audience is high-level corporate stakeholders. So the visuals needed to portray high-gloss, professional office scenarios, all without looking too much like stock footage. Everything was shot on the Red Dragon at 5K resolution at approximately 36 frames per second. We wanted that nice, smooth, slow motion with the ability to reframe as we were finishing in 2K. Overall, the shoot was extremely efficient. We finished a few hours early and chalked that up to being well prepared and having a great crew. So there are a lot of elements when it comes to post-production. You've got the edit, color correction, sound, music, motion graphics, screen replacements, and rather than talk about them here, I'm just going to jump into some screencasts and walk through all those different parts. Okay, here we are in Adobe Premiere. This is where everything starts for just about every project that we do. After the shoot, bring in all the clips here to the project window and evaluate everything. Basically watch it all through, see what we got on the day, see what looks good, see what doesn't, see what we might need to do again. Of course, in this case, that wouldn't have been possible, but this is basically where we go through that initial evaluation. And what you're looking at is all raw 5K Dragon footage. This has not been color corrected and there are no effects. The purpose of this initial edit, which is what's being constructed down here in the timeline, is just to make sure that everything feels good, looks good, the clips are in order, we have what we need, it matches up against the voiceover basically. And then we'll move on and do effects and color grading and all that kind of stuff. But the first mission is a quick edit, and that's what this is down here. You can see there's a lot of stuff that we didn't end up using up here in the project timeline, but again, it was all about coverage. Get more, way more than we need, and that's what we have. So the next thing that we need is a final voiceover, because to match the clip timing to the music and the narration, we need to have that final first. So that happened in Logic. The vocals were recorded on site here in a Blue Dragonfly microphone into an RME Fireface USB interface. The way that would work would be that each take was read a number of times, in this case 8, and then I would go through and piece together the best parts of each, so you can kind of hear the different parts right here.
There are two types of companies. There are two types of companies. There are two types of company.
So you can see basically I am reading the same thing over and over again, and then afterwards I'll go through and figure out which one is the best take of each part and then just cut them all together. Once I had that for the entire script, and that takes a really long time, you can kind of see it's a very long process to go through and do that. Once I have that all figured out, the next thing is basically to process the vocals. So my voice is kind of boomy, doesn't necessarily sound the best into a microphone. So in this case, I use these three plugins, Channel EQ, T-Rax, and the Maserati. Here you can hear it without anything.
There are two types of companies. Those that have been breached.
Okay, and then you turn everything on. Channel EQ is basically just rolling off the low-end frequencies. T-Rax is adding some compression and a little bit of volume. And the Maserati is giving a little bit more bite, a little bit more treble to my voice. You can hear it here.
There are two types of companies. Those that have been breached.
Okay, so once the audio is done, the final voiceover is ready and the audio has been processed, that gets sent back to Premiere, where then we load in a final voiceover and we can start editing these clips exactly as we think they're gonna be. So the next step in this process would be to take it into the color grading suite, but first I'm gonna go into After Effects to show some of that stuff. So this video had about a 15-second intro that was pretty intense in the graphic world. It required a lot of work, and that was because we were using Newton, which is a physics engine here in After Effects. The idea was that we'd be pulling out of a screen and showing both types of companies. The one on the left, a company that had been hacked, and then the one on the right is one that has been hacked, but they just don't know it yet. So the one on the left comes apart, the one on the right gets kind of hacked from the inside. So that was the idea, and then we'd pull back out and show the companies in real life. Newton is really cool. It's a plugin for After Effects. It's not going to work right here, but it's a physics engine, and it basically helps you program this movement here, because that would take forever to keyframe itself. I did lots and lots of testing for this. This is kind of how it started before some of the style was placed on it. This was an initial idea. Let's see, originally I was going to do it on white. This is some really gnarly initial testing, but you know, it's all very helpful to have. There was at one point it was going to be a little bit more like this, where the first company would appear and then the second company would appear along its side. So lots of testing, lots of different versions, and that's really important in After Effects. Before you get something that you're happy with, you just mess around a ton. So of course, After Effects was used for way more than just the intro graphics. There were all kinds of stuff. Yeah, definitely don't save that, going on for this project. One of the main ones was the logo stuff, which is pretty straightforward. These appear throughout the video. In this case, this is just a very simple logo appearance. It's dropping in kind of a cool way, though. It's got some nice, subtle easing happening on it, which is really cool, I think. You can see it's all keyframed with expressions down here. I don't know where they are, but they're somewhere in there. The other thing After Effects was used for was screen replacement. In that case, we use a program called Mocha. Mocha is really good for planar tracking. Planar tracking is when you're tracking something like a screen. It's a plane. It's not a single point, it's 4 points. And you can do this in After Effects, but Mocha is much better. Basically what it does is it tracks whatever you tell it to track. In this case, I've told it to track this screen. And then you export the tracking data, bring it back into After Effects, and put whatever screen you want onto or you basically apply the information that you got out of Mocha onto whatever layer in After Effects you want to track onto the screen. So super fast overview of After Effects and Mocha right now. Next, after we have the effects, let's pretend that we all did that really fast. And now we've got a final voiceover down here. We've got a final edit here. Now we want to color correct this footage. So when we shot, we're shooting on the red, as I said, it's all raw, very, very flat image. This is then taken to the color correction house where they will color correct this image and every image that we use in the final edit. So in this case, we can take a look at the final one here. You can see the color is much richer, especially the skin tones are better. It's a lot more saturated. And it's just an overall much better looking image. You can see the difference, it's crazy. And that's the best part. Color correcting is so much fun because your images just look so much better after you go through that process. So once that's done, you've now got your effects, you've got your final edit, you've got your final voiceover, you've got your final graphics, and everything is ready to be exported. Let me see if I've got, just to show you, let's see, we'll go back to the beginning. So this is, you can see I've got my effects layer there, and this is a little bit strange the way this all works, but so this came out of After Effects. Oh, maybe, yeah. This came out of After Effects, this layer here. You can see the Company 1 on the left, Company 2 on the right, and then this will all pull out of the computer in real life, which is a pretty cool move. That was actually a combination of a physical dolly move and also a move in After Effects. So pretty intense. That actually took forever to get that right and make it look. You can, if you page through it, you can see it's a little bit funky, but it works. And then it makes it look like it's on a newspaper, which I thought was pretty cool. Okay, back to myself in real life. So that's it for this behind the scenes video. As always, there's more to come. If you do have questions or suggestions for future videos, hit us up on Twitter.